My questions. Author.
Hossein Hilbert.
Part 1. Number 1. Building a house is difficult, time-consuming, laborious, and expensive. Nowadays, everyone has a cell phone, and can take photos with no effort and the least cost. Taking photos of civilian and non-security buildings and places is allowed, and does not require any authorization. Someone takes a photo of your house and posts it on the internet. You see the photo and use it in your file. After uploading to YouTube, you will receive a copyright notice for the photo. YouTube is not at fault in this case and is merely fulfilling its legal obligation. Isn't copyright law unfair and unacceptable in this case? Number 2. One of the biggest causes of environmental degradation is the use of plastic, especially in the production of disposable items. Some countries have restricted their production and use. Sadly, most countries are negligent in this regard and continue to destroy the environment. In France, a factory for washing and disinfecting glass bottles has resumed operations after years of closure and has met with a great response. Recycling single-use plastic bottles requires a lot of energy and is more expensive than washing and disinfecting glass bottles. In addition, the environment is destroyed if the energy production is not clean. I hope one day to return to a time when there was no trace of single-use plastic bottles and containers. That will really be progress. Do you agree with me? Number 3. According to spirit researchers, when a spirit comes to Earth to implant itself in a 4-month-old fetus, it leaves behind some of its energy in the spiritual world to continue its education and progress power. Normally, after returning, the spirit is reunited with the energy left behind. Now suppose that a spirit comes to Earth with 70% of its energy, and becomes a figure like Hitler in adulthood. The human body, in which the spirit has nested, is completely destroyed after death. The spirit, however, returns to the spiritual world. In our example, how can the 70% evil part of the spirit, that needs to be punished, united with the 30% part of its energy, that has done nothing wrong in the spiritual world? If these parts are not united, what happens to them? Number 4. There are many books, documentaries, and TV series produced about UFOs. The internet is full of news and videos about UFOs. The sighting of UFOs at different times, and in all parts of the world, by thousands of people, cannot be ignored. Many people take photos and videos of UFOs with their cell phones. Although some photos and even videos are fake, most of them are real. One night in 1976, a UFO was clearly seen by hundreds of people, in different parts of Tehran. Several people informed the control tower of Mehrabad Airport and the Air Force. After Air Force personnel saw the UFO themselves, they contacted the control tower. When control tower personnel also confirmed the sighting of the UFO, orders were given to send 2 Phantom planes from Sharakai Air Base to locate and destroy the UFO. The pilot of one of these 2 aircraft notices that after approaching the UFO, the aircraft's important equipment and radio communications are disabled. He returns to his base. The pilot of the second aircraft tries to approach the UFO, to see it up close. Pilots report, the UFO was moving very fast, without having to accelerate. It emitted 4 lights. A flashing red light at the top, an orange light at the bottom and a blue light around it. These lights were so intense that the body of the UFO could not be seen. To get a better look at the UFO, I approached it. A small glowing object detached from it and came towards the plane. I thought a missile had been fired at me. I tried to destroy it with the thermal missile. When I selected my rocket, I noticed that all the precision instruments had stopped working, and the lights on the instrument panel had gone out. The rocket fire button wasn't working either. At the same moment, the precision instruments began to falter and radio communication also failed. As I moved away from the UFO, the small glowing object stopped following me. The plane landed at Mehrabad Airport, after coordinating with the control tower. The radio contact of 2 airplanes with the control tower was fully recorded and made available to the public. If an ordinary person claims to have seen a UFO, this can be considered an illusion. Since professional pilots of fighter aircraft were involved in this story, it cannot be called an illusion. One theory is that these UFOs are manufactured by the USA or the former Soviet Union and kept secret, so that they can easily spy from any location. The research and construction of advanced flying objects seems real, but the advanced technology of extraterrestrials is perhaps 100 years ahead of terrestrial technology. It is unlikely that the United States or the Soviet Union could have produced such a flying object. Which group do you belong to? Those who believe in the existence of UFOs or those who deny their existence? Number 5. A car has a flat tire. There is a canal at the side of the road, in which water is flowing at high pressure. The driver stops at the canal. He opens the punctured wheel, which is on the side of the canal, and places its screws on the ground. He returns after putting the flat tire in the trunk of the car and taking the spare wheel with him. His foot hits the screws, and they fall into the canal and are carried away by the water. The man is very upset that he has lost the screws through carelessness. At this time, an 8 to 9-year-old boy comes by. The driver says to him, "The wheel screws of my car fell into the canal and were washed away by the water. Do you know where the nearest car parts store is?" "Yes, it's about 10 kilometers away. I can stop the cars and find someone to take me there, but I find it very difficult to walk back 10 kilometers. The boy gives the man some good advice. The driver is very happy and thanks the boy. What was this advice? The answer is at the beginning of the second part of the book.